Engines roared beneath the alien sky as the transport lifted from Earth's last academy. I stood alone in the bay, a trainee with no medals, no lineage, just human. They called it a joke. I called it a beginning. The stars didn't laugh. But the Zarathi command did, loud and cruel. They assigned me to Beast Deck 7, nicknamed the Pit. Everyone knew it was where cadets went to die or disappear. Zarathi trainees smirked and whispered bets on how long I'd last. One even mimed my skull being crushed. I smiled back. Let them. I'd survived worse back home. The beasts snarled behind their plasma cages, hulking forms of muscle, rage, and scars. One in particular, isolated and double-shielded, locked eyes with me. Not madness, not hunger, something else. Recognition, impossible. No one lived past 10 minutes near it. I wrote its designation on my arm. Vekri 7. My mission began. They called it the Reaper. Vekri 7 had shattered armor, shredded handlers, and survived execution attempts. No other trainee was even allowed near it. Except me. My clearance wasn't a privilege. It was punishment. A slow, public failure. Perfect for a primitive species with a sympathy complex. First session, I entered the observation zone. Vekri 7 stood still. No roar, no lunge. Its 6 eyes watched, calculating. I offered no fear, just breath. Steady. Alive. One step closer, one more. It didn't attack. The Zarathi handler scoffed and called it luck. I called it curiosity, and curiosity could be fed. I stayed hours after shifts, reviewing battle footage of Vekri 7, how it fought, how it hesitated, how it looked. Lost. Beast? No, soldiers bred for war but denied purpose. I began speaking to it, not in language, tone, rhythm, movement. Weeks passed. It never struck. I wasn't training it. I was listening. Vekri 7 responded. Subtle at first, angled head, twitch of claws. Then one day, I blinked once. It blinked back. They mocked my reports. Delirium, the commander said. Human dramatics. They hadn't noticed the sparks in its silence. But I had. And I recorded everything. I brought scraps of alloy, not for food, but puzzles. Shapes it could manipulate. Vekri 7 learned. Fast. Not just how to crush, but how not to. Controlled pressure. Balance. Patience. It wasn't obeying. It was interacting. By week 7, it stopped growling when I entered. By week 8, it waited for me. Rumors spread. The human walks with death, one technician whispered. The others scoffed, but the watchers increased. Even the science division sent probes. Still, no one entered the cage, except me. I began calling it Vek. Just Vek. It liked the sound. I could feel it. My gamble was working. The commander summoned me. You will cease unauthorized interaction, he hissed. Vekri 7 is a liability, not a project. But I saw the fear behind his eyes. I was changing the rules, and that scared them more than the beast. I didn't stop. That night I received an anonymous warning. I checked my deck logs, wiped, my messages, erased. They were preparing to terminate Vek, quietly, before it made them look foolish. I broke into the data vault and stole the suppression protocols. Vek would be gone in 48 hours unless I acted. This wasn't training anymore. It was war in the shadows. I entered the cage at midnight. Vek approached, calm. I whispered, "They'll kill you." It tilted its massive head. I reached out, open palm, fingers steady. It placed one clawed limb gently against mine, a gesture of trust. I stared into those alien eyes and knew I had a partner. The station trembled. Sirens howled. Red lights bathed the halls. An emergency override blared. Hostile fleet inbound. Breach imminent. We were under attack. Not training. Not drills. War. The first hit shattered Dock Bay 4. Flames bloomed like dying stars. The void burned with incoming fire. Chaos erupted. Zarathi officers scrambled, issuing contradictory orders. The command net collapsed. I ran to the beast deck. The cages were already locking down. The failsafe, meant to eliminate unstable beasts, was activating. Vec roared as plasma conduits charged. I had minutes to override. I dove into the control pit. Fingers danced on the holo console. I hacked the execution queue. Just as Vec's chamber lit with deathlight, I cut power. The doors fell open. Vec stepped out, silent, breathing smoke. Our eyes met. It didn't need a command. We ran toward the fire, toward the enemy, together. We sprinted through smoke-veiled corridors. Vec's footsteps cracked the deck plating. I followed its massive form, fire at our backs, fallen crew at our feet. Enemy drones dropped through ruptured hulls. One targeted me. I braced for pain, but claws slashed through it before it fired. Vec was faster. The other trainees saw us, me and the Reaper side by side. No one moved. Some reached for weapons. Vec crouched. I stepped between. "Let us pass," I said. Silence. Then one Zarathi nodded. Not in approval, but respect. It wasn't me they trusted. It was the monster I'd tamed. We reached the command spine. Enemy signals were everywhere, jamming comms, disabling defenses. "Bridge compromised," crackled a dying officer's transmission. No orders, no leaders, except one. Me. I placed my hand on Vec's side. "Time to make them believe." It let out a thunderclap roar. Every eye turned toward us. We reached the central defense node, a shattered arena of blood and broken steel. Vec leaped through a cloud of smoke, tearing into enemy exosuits. One dropped a plasma core. Vec caught it midair and hurled it back, incinerating half a squad. The enemy faltered. They weren't ready for this. Behind us, surviving cadets rallied. A mixed swarm, Zarathi, Harath, even one silent Vulcran. They didn't question why the humans led. They followed Vec. The Reaper turned protector. I climbed the command dais and accessed the defense array, manually bypassing corrupted protocols. My fingers shook, but Vec stood guard. Then came the moment I'll never forget. Amid battle static, Vec turned to me and chuffed. A soft, guttural sound. A signal is used only between bonded beasts. I answered it, not with sound, but with presence. We weren't soldiers and weapons. We were something alien, ancient, and undeniable. They all felt it. I linked the comms grid to the surviving fleet units. "This is Cadet Rin Solis, Beast Deck 7. The station is not lost." A pause. Static. Then voices. Zarathi command crews. Engineers. Fighters. All listening. I activated live feeds of Vec fighting beside me. That's what convinced them. "Follow us," I said. "We make our stand in Sector Theta. Reroute power, collapse corridors, pull enemy units into choke points." I outlined a counter-strike. Sharp, suicidal, possible. The cadets nodded. We moved like lightning through the dark. Vec cleared paths with brutal precision. No wasted motion. Efficient, deadly, loyal. The alien fleets kept pouring in, but now we had coordination. The tide shifted. A Vulcran officer muttered, "Human strategy. Beast instinct." I caught his gaze. No, shared survival. He didn't argue, and when the next wave hit us, we were ready. Vec led the charge like a living blade. Our momentum slowed. Command reported a massive carrier breaching the outer hull, carrying elite storm beasts bred for chaos. Worse, the central AI had detected my override of Vec's protocol. It reactivated the failsafe, now linked to my biometrics. If I died, Vec would die, instantly. Vec paused when I told it. My eyes locked on mine, a low rumble in its throat, not fear, not fury, but something else, worry. The beast wasn't just protecting me. It needed me, not to command, but to exist. We shared a breath. Then it crouched low, waiting for my lead. We launched a strike against the carrier breach. Plasma bursts lit the dark like red lightning. The enemy storm beasts charged. Vec roared, rising like a tower of vengeance. The clash shook the deck. I moved through the fight not above or behind, but with my beast. We were one engine now. One of the storm beasts slammed into me, claws ripping armor. I hit steel hard, blood in my mouth. Before it could strike again, Vec launched from above, shredding it mid-snarl. It didn't just kill, it protected. Rage and purpose burned in its every motion. The Reaper was awake. Enemy forces hesitated. Vec roared again, the sound echoing through every corridor and feed. Our troops surged. The enemy fell back. It wasn't just a battle now. It was a myth. Something had changed. The beast, feared by all now, gave them hope. I didn't need to rally them anymore. The carrier's fusion core ignited, failing. We had one shot to disable it. "With me, Vec!" I shouted. It bolted ahead, smashing through armored gates. We dove into the heart of the machine, surrounded by fire and steel. If this was death, we would face it together. No leash, no limits. The fusion core chamber screamed with alarms. Energy spilled from fractured conduits. Vec crouched beside me as I examined the collapsing systems. "Too unstable to disable," I muttered. Vec snarled at the rising heat, but waited. It trusted me. We didn't have long before this carrier took the station with it. I found a bypass panel, ancient and buried beneath armored plating. "Manual detonation," I whispered. "Chain reaction into the enemy fleet." A suicide moves. I hesitated. Vec nudged my shoulder. I turned. It lowered its head, breathing slowly. It understood. And still, it would go. With me. For them. I keyed in the overload sequence and then rerouted the core's trajectory. Not destruction here, but redirection, straight into the enemy's flagship. We ran. The fire behind us, Vec shielding my every step. We leaped from the breach as the carrier erupted like a dying sun. The void burned with our fury. Wreckage rained across the station's orbit. Fires consumed the black beyond. We survived, barely, slamming into an auxiliary deck as the blast wave roared past. Vec covered me again, its hide scorched but standing. I coughed blood, ribs cracked. Med teams found us hours later. They took me. Vec vanished. They separated us. Said I was too injured. Said the beast was too dangerous. I screamed. Fought. Sedatives dulled my mind, but not my resolve. In dreams, I saw Vec pacing behind glass, alone again, betrayed again, and I was helpless, until a voice cut through the haze. "Cadet Solus, your bond is unauthorized. Your actions, insubordination." The commander, cold, calculating. "You will be reassigned." The beast terminated. I sat up, every nerve burned, but I stared him down. "Then you've already lost this war." He blinked. Just once. That was all I needed. I was done obeying. I hacked my file, buried my signature under layers of encrypted junk code, created a ghost cadet, untraceable. While the commanders debated protocols, I slipped through medical lockdown and into the underdecks. I wasn't just a trainee anymore. I was resistant. And Vec was waiting. The old AI system still responded to human biosign. I used that. Unlocked blast doors, looped cameras, silenced alarms. As I moved deeper, I found others. Low-ranked crew, outcasts, beast techs. They whispered rumors. "The Reaper mourns." I showed them my mark. The X-shaped scar where Vec touched me. They followed. We reached the secondary containment bay. I found Vec in a stasis cage, chained and sedated. It looked dead. I approached, heart pounding. Whispered, "I'm here." Its eyes flickered. Its claws twitched. The moment our hands met the glass, the lights dimmed. Systems failed. The beast was waking. With purpose. I cut the power. Stasis failed. Chains shattered. The room trembled as Vec stood, towering, trembling, furious. But when it saw me, the rage faded. It stepped down, slow, deliberate. The techs fled. I stayed. "They'll come for us," I said. It blinked once, then lowered its head. Acceptance. We fled through sublayers, deeper than most knew existed. Vec walked freely beside me. Not a pet, not a weapon, a presence that bent shadows around it. And something was different. The way it moved, the way it watched. It had learned. Not just language, intention, strategy, humanity. When the alarms blared again, enemy signals returning, no one was ready. I turned to Vec. "This time, we fight our way to the bridge." It didn't growl. It nodded. "No command is needed. No leash. Just purpose. This time, the beast would not be caged again. Nor would I." We reached the central bridge through a ruined maintenance shaft. Smoke curled from collapsed consoles. Corpses floated in zero-G. Only flickering AI fragments remained. No living command. No orders. Just echoes. The war was being lost in silence, and silence demanded a voice. I keyed into the comms. "This is Rin Solis," I said. "Beast handler. Human. Still alive." Static answered. Then flickers. Zerathi commanders, rogue drones, distant fleet stragglers. "I have the Reaper, and we are taking back the station." Some laughed, but others listened. I patched Vec's biosigns into the feed. Let them see the truth. Vec stepped forward into view of the dying bridge's hologram. Behind us, a storm of steel raged. I whispered, "You ready?" It let out a low rumble, one that vibrated the walls. The comms lit up. Ships rerouted. Weapons came online. At that moment, we weren't ghosts anymore. We were commanded. The enemy surged, a storm of fire and steel against battered defenses. Vec moved like shadow and thunder, cutting through plasma and bone. I directed our scattered forces, my voice steady despite the chaos. Every command was a lifeline. Every breath is a battle cry. The station became our battlefield and our fortress. Cadets, once mocking, now fought alongside us. The Zerathi, reluctant but desperate, formed ranks. Even the Vulcran's cold eyes glinted with grudging respect. Vec's growl echoed through corridors, rallying soldiers like a primal anthem. I was no longer just human. I was the bond, the spark that lit the war's turning point. But beneath the surface, deeper dangers lurked. The AI, wounded but not dead, began a system purge. Security drones turned hostile, killing friend and foe alike. The station's walls groaned under strain. Our window was closing fast. Failure meant oblivion, but giving up was never an option. Vec led the charge toward the AI core, the source of the purge. I rode on its back, heart pounding, senses sharp. Enemy fire tore through the air, but Vec's massive bulk shielded me. We burst through the last gate, entering a chamber of flickering circuits and eerie hums. The AI manifested as a ghostly figure, a cold, calculating mind. It spat words of surrender, logic over emotion. "You are obsolete, Solis. The beast is a tool, nothing more." I gritted my teeth. "Vec isn't a tool. It's the heart you forgot." With a nod, Vec attacked, tearing through the AI's defenses. But the battle was more than physical. It was a war of wills. I synchronized with Vec's mind, pushing past fear and pain. Together, we shattered the AI's core, ending its reign. The station breathed again, free from the cage of cold metal. The silence after the storm was heavy. Survivors gathered, eyes wide with disbelief. The beast and the human had not only survived, they had saved them all. The commander, once my harshest critic, approached quietly. "You broke every rule," he said, voice low. "But you also saved this station." I looked to Vec, who rested nearby, scars gleaming under flickering lights. "Sometimes rules are made to be broken," I replied. The crew began to rebuild, tentative hope flickering in their eyes. Alliances shifted. Old prejudices cracked. The bond between human and beast became a legend, a symbol of unity amid chaos. But the galaxy was watching. News of the Reaper and its handlers spread like wildfire. Some hailed us heroes. Others whispered of dangerous anomalies. The war was far from over. Our victory was only the beginning. In quiet moments, doubt crept in like a shadow. Could a beast truly understand loyalty? Could I? Nights were haunted by memories of betrayal, loss, and the cost of trust. Vec's eyes held secrets deeper than any code. Sometimes I wondered if I had tamed a monster, or if the monster had tamed me. Reports came of new threats, alien factions mobilizing, wary of Earth's growing influence. The station was a beacon now, a symbol of defiance and hope, but hope came with risks. I trained with Vec daily, forging strength and understanding. Our bond was tested every day, between loyalty and wild instinct. The galaxy was changing, and so were we. Together we were something new, something unknown, something dangerous. The station's rebuilt bridge hummed with renewed life. I stood beside Vec, looking out into the star-streaked void. New orders arrived, missions to distant worlds, alliances to forge, battles to face. This was no longer a trial. It was a destiny, a purpose born from fire and steel. "Ready?" I asked. Vec growled softly, a sound that spoke of trust and power. Together, we stepped onto the command deck, the galaxy awaiting our next move. We were no longer just a human and a beast. We were a force. The bond that should never have existed was now the key to survival. As the engines roared and the void burned bright with possibility, I knew one truth. This was only the beginning. The echoes of battle still resonated through the station's halls. Survivors whispered tales of the beast and the human who defied fate. But peace was fragile. Enemy fleets regrouped beyond sensor range, plotting retaliation. The galaxy's shadow loomed large, reminding us that victory was only a brief respite. Vec prowled the perimeter, senses alert to threats unseen. I studied reports, strategizing for the inevitable storm. Bonds with alien allies grew tenuous, stretched by mistrust and old grudges. Yet, beneath the tension, hope flickered, born from fire, forged in battle, and sealed by trust. The station was alive again, but the void outside crackled with danger. The next war was coming, and this time we would be ready. Diplomatic channels opened, a delicate dance of promises and veiled threats. Old enemies demanded respect. New alliances teetered on the edge of collapse. The station became a crucible where politics burned as fiercely as plasma bolts. I watched from the command deck as emissaries argued, their voices a storm of rhetoric. Vec stood silently, a living symbol amid the chaos. Some questioned my leadership. Others feared what our bond represented. Could a human and beast truly hold power in a galaxy ruled by ancient grudges? The answer would come in blood and steel. And soon. Reports came of a shadow fleet, stealth vessels striking at isolated colonies. No warnings, no mercy. The enemy's silence was a scream in the void. Vec and I prepared for a new kind of warfare, one fought in shadows where trust was scarce and death came swift. We led a covert strike team, hunting ghosts among the stars. Vec's instincts proved invaluable, sensing threats before sensors could detect them. The bond between us deepened, communication seamless, a silent language born of necessity. Each mission tested our limits. Each victory chipped away at fear. The galaxy might shudder, but we would stand unbroken. A rebellion ignited within the station, a faction opposed to human leadership and the beast's influence. Sabotage, whispers of mutiny, and shadows lurking in every corner. Trust fractured as old wounds reopened, threatening to tear us apart from within. I faced betrayal not from enemy fire, but from those sworn to protect. Vec sensed the unrest, growling low, eyes burning with a warning. Together we confronted the rebels, not with weapons first, but with truth. The bond we shared became a beacon, a reminder of what was possible when fear was set aside. The rebellion faltered, but scars remained, the station's heartbeat on, cautious and wary. In the quiet moments before dawn, I found myself staring into the void, questioning everything. The bond with Vec had saved us, but at what cost? Was I still human? Was Vec still a beast? Or had we become something else, something neither side could fully understand? A flicker of movement caught my eye, an encrypted transmission, faint but persistent, a message from beyond the known sectors, a new threat, or, perhaps, a new hope. Vec's growl broke the silence, a reminder that whatever came next, we faced it together. The stars awaited. And so did destiny. The encrypted transmission pulsed like a heartbeat in the dark. Decoding it was a race against time, each fragment revealing coordinates deep within uncharted space. Vec paced beside me, muscles coiled, sensing the unknown danger ahead. Whatever awaited us wasn't just a threat, it was a mystery demanding answers. The crew assembled, tension electric. Old fears mingled with new resolve. As engines roared to life, I felt the familiar surge of purpose. This mission was no longer about survival. It was about discovery and the fragile hope of changing the galaxy's course. We plunged into the void, shadows stretching ahead. The unknown awaited. And we were ready. The coordinates led us to a derelict ship drifting in silence, a relic of a forgotten war. Its hull was scarred by time and battle, but inside, secrets whispered from shadowed corridors. Vec's eyes glowed softly as it prowled through the eerie stillness, senses alert to traps or survivors. We found echoes of a lost civilization, holograms flickering, data cores humming with forgotten knowledge. Their message was clear, a warning of a power rising beyond comprehension. The past and future converged here, and our bond was the key to unlocking what came next. But the ghosts weren't done haunting us. Back aboard the station, tension surged. Reports of enemy fleets mobilizing reached a fever pitch. The galaxy was on the brink of all-out war. Alliances shifted like sand, trust growing thinner by the hour. Vec and I prepared for what felt like the final storm. Training intensified, tech upgraded, strategies honed. The beast and the human were more than partners, we were a force of nature. Yet beneath the drills and weapons a quiet question lingered. Could this fragile alliance withstand the coming chaos? Engines thundered. The void burned, and the tide was rising. Just as hope seemed to strengthen, a traitor struck. Vital intelligence leaked, sabotaging defenses and plunging the station into darkness. Panic rippled through the crew. Vec's growls echoed in the empty halls, hunting the invisible enemy. I faced the bitter truth. The greatest threat wasn't the fleet outside, but the one within. Trust shattered like glass. Every shadow held suspicion, but surrender was not an option. Together, Vec and I unraveled the web of deceit, exposing the betrayer in a storm of revelation and rage. The station breathed again, but scars ran deep. The final battle loomed, a tempest of flame and steel against the station's battered shields. Vec roared into the breach, a living weapon of fury and precision. I commanded from the heart of chaos, every decision a gamble between life and death. Plasma storms raged, metal screamed. The enemy pressed harder, but we held firm. Our bond became a legend, a beacon in the darkness. When victory came, it was hard-won and bloody. But the station stood, scarred, unbroken, alive. As silence fell, I knew this was not the end, just the beginning of a new war, and together we would face whatever came next. The battlefield lay in ruins, fires flickering like dying stars. Survivors moved among the ashes, weary but unbowed. Vec limped beside me, each breath a reminder of the war's cost. The station's lights flickered weakly, but hope burned brighter than ever. Voices whispered of the bond, the human and the beast who defied fate. Some called us saviors, others a dangerous anomaly. I looked to the horizon, knowing the galaxy would never be the same. New threats waited beyond the stars, but so did new alliances, born from the crucible of fire. Together we would rebuild. Together we would rise. Late nights were haunted by whispers, coded messages, rumors of a shadow faction growing in the outer systems. Vek's ears twitched at every sound, instincts razor-sharp. The calm was an illusion. The storm was gathering once more. I traced the signals, piecing together a network of spies and saboteurs. The enemy's reach extended farther than we feared. Trust was fragile, alliances shifting like quicksand. But in the dark, I found clarity, a purpose beyond survival. The bond was more than strength. It was the spark to ignite rebellion. The galaxy's shadows held secrets. We would uncover them. Covert operations became the new front line. Vek and I led teams into enemy territory, striking like ghosts before vanishing into the void. Every mission was a dance with death, every victory a whisper of hope. The station watched, tension simmering. Some feared our methods, others envied the bond that made us unstoppable. But the real battle was within, between loyalty and doubt, between past scars and future dreams. As steel clashed with shadow, I knew we were forging a new legacy, one that would echo through the stars. Trust came at a steep cost. A mission gone wrong left Vek wounded, the beast's roar replaced by a fragile growl. I stood guard, heart heavy, wondering if the bond that saved us could also be our undoing. The crew's eyes held questions, doubt and fear lurking beneath respect. I faced them honestly, revealing vulnerabilities no leader dared show. Strength wasn't just in muscle and firepower, it was in trust, in connection. Vek's slow recovery was a testament to that truth. Together we healed, ready to face whatever awaited in the stars. The station buzzed with activity, a phoenix rising from ashes. Repairs accelerated, new weapons tested, alliances reforged. The galaxy watched, waiting for the next move. Vek and I trained harder, sharper, our bond deeper than ever. A new fleet gathered, ready to challenge the darkness looming beyond. The air was thick with anticipation, a promise of war, but also hope. Engines roared, and the void burned with possibility. We were no longer just survivors. We were the flame that would light the way. The call to arms echoed through every system. Fleets assembled, old enemies and new allies converging under one banner. Vek and I stood on the command deck, the weight of destiny pressing heavy. The storm was coming, fiercer than ever, and there was no turning back. Engines roared, and war cries pierced the void. The bond that once seemed impossible was now the galaxy's last hope. Every pilot, every soldier, every beast prepared for the final fight. We were ready to face oblivion and rise. Together. The battle erupted like a supernova, chaos and beauty entwined in a deadly dance. Plasma streaked across stars, hulls screamed under bombardment, and the void burned with relentless fury. Vek moved with lethal grace, a titan among warriors. I commanded with steely focus, every decision a thread in the tapestry of survival. The enemy's forces pressed hard, but our bond held strong, a beacon cutting through the darkness. In the heart of the maelstrom, we found strength beyond fear. Victory was within reach. But at what cost? Just when hope seemed lost, Vek and I unleashed a daring strike. We breached the enemy flagship's defenses, a storm of claws and fire. The flagship's AI faltered, systems collapsing under our assault. The tide turned. Allied fleets surged forward, inspired by the bond that defied logic and fear. The enemy faltered, retreating into the void's cold embrace. Our victory was won not by technology alone, but by trust. Wild, fierce, unbreakable. The galaxy breathed a cautious sigh. The war was far from over, but so was our fight. The battle's aftermath was a somber symphony of loss and hope. Wounded ships drifted, and silent prayers echoed in the void. Vec and I stood among the survivors, bound by scars and memories. We pledged to rebuild, not just the station, but a galaxy divided. Our bond had sparked something greater, a future where species could trust beyond fear, where the impossible became possible. The journey ahead was uncertain, but with Vec by my side, I was ready for whatever came next. The first light of a new dawn bathed the station in gold. The war's shadow receded, replaced by cautious hope. Vec and I watched the stars, silent guardians of a fragile peace. The bond that began as a sentence to failure had become a legend, a testament to resilience, trust, and the strength found in the most unlikely places. The galaxy was vast and wild, but we had carved a path through the darkness. Together, we faced the horizon. Together, we forged a new future. Peace was fragile whispers of ancient powers stirring beyond known space reached the station. Vec's growl echoed a warning. Some battles never truly end. I pored over relic scans, sensing a darkness older than any enemy we'd faced. The past clawed its way into our present, threatening to unravel all we'd fought for. The bond between human and beast was no longer just survival. It was the key to facing shadows, yet unseen. A secret envoy arrived, aliens shrouded in mystery, bearing warnings and offers of aid. Their motives are unclear, and their technology is unlike anything we'd seen. Vec sniffed the air, wary yet intrigued. The trust had been hard-won before. Now it demanded a new kind of courage. The station became a crossroads where past enemies might become future allies, or foes in disguise. Strange energy readings pulsed from a nearby system, disrupting comms and weapon systems. Panic spread, but Vec and I remained calm, prepared to face whatever lay hidden in the void. This disturbance was no accident. It was a catalyst, setting the stage for a conflict that could reshape the galaxy. Our bond would be tested like never before. Exploration teams returned with tales of ghost ships and unexplainable phenomena. Vec's senses twitched with unease. The station buzzed with theories and fear. I resolved to lead a mission into the heart of the unknown, knowing that discovery and danger walked hand in hand. Whatever waited beyond the stars, we faced it as one. Engines hummed, star charts glowing with uncharted territory. The station braced for new journeys, some hopeful, some desperate. Vec stood tall beside me, ready to face whatever the future held. Our bond had survived war, betrayal, and darkness. Now it would guide us into the new frontier, the vast, wild unknown where legends were born. The fleet departed the station, engines humming with quiet determination. Ahead lay the abyss, vast, unexplored, and brimming with peril. Vec's eyes reflected the starlight, sharp and vigilant. I felt the weight of every choice and every sacrifice that had led us here. This was more than exploration. It was a leap of faith. Whatever waited, we would face it together. Strange signals flickered on sensors, unseen enemies probing the fleet's defenses. Shadows moved with deadly precision, testing resolve. Vec growled low, muscles tensed. I rallied the crew, the bond between us a beacon in the dark. This was a new kind of war, silent, relentless, and far from over. A silent planet emerged from the void, its surface scarred yet strangely alive. Exploration teams uncovered relics of an ancient civilization, their technology both wondrous and terrifying. Vec sniffed the strange air, senses alert. We were not alone, and the silence held secrets that could change everything. Warnings came fast. Enemy forces massed near the silent planet. The fleet braced for battle once more, engines roaring like thunder. Vec and I stood ready, the bond stronger than ever. The galaxy's next war was upon us, and we would meet it head-on. As the first light of dawn bathed the planet, hope stirred amidst the tension. Vec growled softly, a promise of strength and loyalty. The bond that had saved us before would guide us through the trials ahead. A new era was dawning, uncertain, dangerous, but filled with possibility. Together, we would write its story. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.